All right. See, we're going live. See if we have enough lighting in here. Okay, that looks better right there. Greetings, everyone. Welcome to Dorsey's Resource. The topic of this video is going to be why silver and gold prices are going up, or why silver and gold are going up. I'm your host, John Dorsey. As usual, I like to give a disclaimer. This video is going to be for educational, informational, and entertainment purposes only. Please understand everyone's individual circumstance or situation may be different. It's up to every individual competent person to please do his or her homework and research regarding the matter being discussed. This information is not to be construed as legal advice. Any event you feel you need to seek a competent professional, it is encouraged that you do so at one's own leisure. Dorsey's Resource Channel is not liable or responsible for anyone's misuse of this information. With that being said, all rights are reserved. Everyone is responsible for their own affairs. Please govern yourselves accordingly. Now, thank you guys for joining. I appreciate. Big shout out to everyone who continues to follow my channel, that continues to follow the work that I do. I greatly appreciate it. And let's get into the topic. I have several articles. I want to show the topic once again, why silver and gold prices are going up. I did a video last night, and I have my notes with me before I head in that I just want to go over. So I'll be reading from different articles from a computer screen. The first article is going to be from Bloomberg reports. U.S. Mint has reduced silver / gold supplies to purchasers. The U.S. Mint has reduced the volume, and I'm going to turn the camera so you guys can see the volume of gold and silver coins it's distributing to authorized purchasers as the coronavirus pandemic slows production. A document seen by Bloomberg shows the Mint's West Point complex in New York is taking measures to prevent the virus from spreading among its employees, and that will probably slow coin production. Therefore, the next 12 to 18 months, the document shows. The facility is no longer able to produce gold and silver coins at the same time, forcing it to choose one metal over the other. According to the document, which was presented to companies authorized to buy coins from the Mint last week, it states, and I'll continue to read, the pandemic created a whole new set of challenges for us to manage, the Mint said in the document. We believe that this environment is going to continue to lead to some degree of reduced capacity as West Point struggles to balance employee safety against market demand. That's the key right there. To cope with demand, the Mint is now asking dealers to provide their 10-day and 90-day forecast for the demand for the first time ever. Continuing to read, that will allow it to decide what products to make, as some are more labor intensive than others. According to the document, if the Mint decides to make 1/10 of an ounce of gold, for instance, it must cut production of American Silver Eagle coins. By the way, it says this part of the second paragraph says no shortage of gold or silver. This story is sure to bring out all sorts of silliness regarding a shortage of physical gold and silver, as well as conspiracy theories regarding how much gold is in Fort Knox. Okay, that's something I guess they added in there, guys. So I'm gonna get back to the live stream session. I was reading from an article. Sonia Johnson says, "Hey Dorsey, greetings to you. Thank you for joining us, Sonia. Appreciate you." Let me move this over. The next article I'm going to read from is this one is from the date from the previous article that I read. I want to get the date for you guys. Was from July 27th. This next article is from 7/28, which was July, not too long ago. The title is U.S. Mint has reduced silver, gold supply to purchasers. Pretty much very similar. Says the U.S. Mint has reduced the volume of gold and silver coins it's distributing to authorized dealers. That's about pretty much the same as what I previously read. So this article looks like it may have more information. It states, I'll scroll down. Right here it says the pandemic created a whole new set of challenges for us to manage. The Mint said in the document, we believe that this environment is going to continue to lead to some degree of reduced capacity as West Point struggles to balance employee safety against market demand. This is critical right here. The U.S. Mint, which makes, I almost lost the focus there, which makes gold, silver, platinum, and palladium coins that are sold through a network of distributors, has been producing commemorative and investment coins at a lower capacity since reopening the West Point Mint facility and imposing social distancing earlier this year. Continuing to read, the cuts are yet another blow that the pandemic has dealt to America's coin supplies. Just last week, the Mint urged Americans to spend their pennies, nickels, dimes, and quarters because the pandemic has cut in-store sale purchases and slowed the pace of coin circulation nationwide. Continuing to read more, it says the reduced allocations are also coming just as investors are clamoring for precious coins. Global uncertainty over the pandemic has driven silver and gold prices to multi-year highs, turning coins made from the metals into a retail safe haven. The premiums for some coins over the spot prices of the metals have surged to record levels. By the way, I can read that again. The premium for some coins over the spot prices of the metals has surged to record levels. This is why it's not a coincidence why I titled this video, why the price of gold, silver, and gold is going up. By the way, thank you guys for joining. Have to adjust the camera there. It got messed up there as I was reading. So thank you guys for joining. I see Gregory in the chat says, you go, Dorsey. Appreciate you, Gregory. Thank you for joining. Joseph Overson says, they are lying. Before Trump came to office, he brought large storage facilities to hoard gold and silver. All of this is planned so we can come off the global market. Okay, I'm not sure about all the details. I wouldn't be surprised. A lot of gold I was told by sources hoarded in comparison to silver from years past, especially that's why I go over those documentaries. If you watch Changes on the Horizon, Money Masters, Monopoly Men provides a lot of insight into there's an aspect that ties the difference why you don't want to stay with fiat currency. You want to have an alternative, by the way. So if you guys, in case you didn't know, I went over some of this information in my previous video. Just wanted to make you all aware that you may never see these prices again. I don't know if the price of silver is going to drop below $20 an ounce, but currently, let's see, I thought I had the article or coinflation up. Let me see here. I have to type in coinflation.com. Okay, I'll show you guys. See, here's the current price of silver is at $28.32. This is on coinflation.com. Gold is at over 2,000. So what I like to do sometimes is refresh the screen. So you see, okay, it's holding steady. Let's see what it says on Kitco. By the way, let's see what it says on Kitco. Kitco silver, I'll put in silver price. We can also check JM Bullion. Okay, JM Bullion has 21.26. That's in comparison to what I just checked, coinflation. Let's see what Kitco has. Kitco has $28.42 for bid and ask. They have the low and high. The low 27.33, the high 28.97. It's another site to check as well to stay abreast of what the current market value, market rate, what the metals are trading at as well. If you're into other aspects, it has other information on the site as well. So I like to check since it's been a volatile market lately. Galactic Soul says, good to see you, Dorsey, still at it always. Thanking you for keeping us updated. Appreciate it. Appreciate you. Thank you for joining very much. In case you guys haven't, don't forget to hit the like, thumbs up, helps in the search results. I appreciate you guys who continue to follow me, my YouTube, all the subscribers. What I'm going over in this video is why the price of silver and gold is going up lately. I just read a couple articles and just giving my opinions behind that, and show that why now is the time, in case if you haven't gotten into it yet, based on what your budget is, especially silver, you want to hurry up, because we don't know. It was stated to me that if the price goes up to $50 or even $100, people will wish that they bought in at the prices now that some people are complaining they feel are high, when just several months ago they were down $17, $18 per ounce for a while, because the market, it's manipulated, which leads me to talk about the COMEX exchange. By no means am I an expert, but just piggybacking off the information from this video, the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. I was listening to a podcast where an individual was talking about people, they would be taking a risk if they sell shorts this December. So they said lately there's been a large delivery. This deals with like digital. It's not like they're doing paper trading. And this individual told me in years past they may not have enough for the physical supply. Hold on a second. Okay, I'm back. See someone else in the chat. Sandra Week says there is a company out of Florida that is set up to give you a website that customers can purchase from. You will receive a bonus for returning customers. Okay, oh, that sounds like a good idea. I'm not really sure about that. As my channel is growing, I'm not as I would say acclimated, but that sounds like an excellent idea. People, you know, if you can earn like a commission or referral fee, referral bonus, you know, I wouldn't mind posting a link if you have any more information about that. By the way, feel free to post the link. Gretchen Hill says, peace, love, and iron fire, Dorsey's resource. Appreciate you, Gretchen. Thank you for joining, by the way. So I just went over giving my reasons why the price of silver and gold is going up. The articles I read dealing with the U.S. Mint earlier, they were basically talking about has reduced the volume of gold and silver coins it's distributing to authorized purchasers as the coronavirus pandemic slowed production. And I had heard this in a previous video. I've been subscribed to another plethora of a lot of other YouTube channels that talk about silver and gold. I suggest you guys do the same thing. If you are new to silver, I would advise, in my opinion, this is not financial advice, but to do as much research as possible into the matter, as silver is a hedge against inflation. And if I do have some time, I have some other articles pulled up to kind of go into details about that, by the way, to show. For example, I read from, where is that site? JM Bullion Coinflation. Let me see here. Coinflation. Okay. You guys can see right here, silver is at $28.32 on Coinflation. JM Bullion is showing, okay, $28.43 per ounce. I was reading wrong. I was reading the difference, I guess, with the down movement with dealing with gold, but silver at 28.43, which is not too big of a difference. The prices can vary you know, from different dealer to dealer, by the way, in case you guys are not aware, just staying abreast of things. So my point, and then if you go to, this is the nationaldebtclock.org, which is the national debt, as you can see, is over 26 trillion. Then it has the debt per citizen. Now we scroll over once again. I showed this a long time ago in one of my previous videos. You has right here dollar to silver ratio now $4,072 per ounce. The dollar to silver ratio in 1913. As you guys can see, it says $2.64 per ounce. So we scroll down, the dollar to gold ratio. This is what the real price should be, $32,451 per ounce. Dollar to gold ratio, this is what it was based on back in 1913, $28.99 per ounce. So if we scroll back up, this is what the real price of silver is supposed to be at, $4,072 per ounce. But as you see, where I just showed on coinflation.com, because it's being manipulated, by the way, $28.32. And then if we, as we previously went to JM Bullion, they have it listed at $28.43 per ounce. So can you guys let me know if you guys can tell, if you already know about the manipulation, the COMEX exchange, Chicago Mercantile Exchange, how they deal with paper. By no means am I an expert, but the individual elder who shared with me many years ago, it's over 10 years now since I started getting into the metals at one time, because I never really, I explained to you, I didn't fully understand it at first, by the way. Just trying to adjust this camera, had a little spilled over yesterday. Okay, good. That appears to be better. But as I explained, he explained to me some years ago that you want to hold the physical, for example, like this is a 1 ounce round. I don't mind taking it out. It had like some spot. It was basically used. I got it very close to the spot price, by the way. Really good deal. I looked at some of the online sellers were selling on eBay, and they were astronomical not too long ago. I still bought in at a higher rate because I was kind of holding out for a while. I was procrastinating, which I shouldn't have done. But once I saw that the market was starting to go up, I picked up some more, by the way. But in comparison, by the way, this compared to this Federal Reserve note, it takes, as you can see, even with the manipulation, it takes over 28 of these when you include the premium on top of the spot price just to purchase one of these. So precious metals, this is a generic 1 ounce silver round. You know, silver and gold serve as a hedge against inflation. So this is fiat, and this is losing its purchasing power. So as you see, and when you go shop at the grocery store and you're wondering why food, stuff like that, it's going up, milk and meat in particular. But I was just reading from some articles earlier dealing with the U.S. Mint and why there's a shortage at hand. Let me see if there's another article I have where Robert Kiyosaki explains why people who hold real money, gold and silver, instead of fiat currency will reap the rewards many times over. It states, this article is from December 12, 2018, by the way, that I'm reading from. It says, from the beginning of time, many things have been considered currency. Livestock, grains, spices, beads, and paper have all been forms of currency, but only two things have been money. You guessed it, gold and silver. In 1971, the US dollar died because it was no longer money. It became a currency. And there is a big difference between money and currency. It's a common misconception to think currency is money. For instance, when someone gives you some cash, you presumably think of it as money. It is not. Cash is simply a currency, a medium of exchange that you can use to purchase something that has value. By the way, the word currency comes from, let me scroll up so you guys can see it better. Currency comes from the word current, like an electrical or ocean current. The word means movement. In overly simple terms, a currency needs to keep moving. If it stops moving, it rapidly loses value. If the loss of value is too great, people stop accepting it. If people stop accepting it, the value of the currency plummets to zero. After 1971, the US dollar began moving to zero. Money, unlike currency, has value within itself. Money is always a currency in that it can be used to purchase other items that have value. But as we just learned, currency is not always money because it doesn't have value in and of itself. Think about it this way: is the paper your $100 bill printed on worth $100? Question mark. The answer is, of course, no. That paper simply represents value that is stored somewhere else, or at least it's used to be before our money became currency. The US dollar is backed by nothing other than hot air, or what is commonly referred to as the good faith and credit of the United States. For example, that's where if you've heard people mention the term IOU, by the way, that this is a form of a promissory note. It's owned by the Federal Reserve. This is an IOU in comparison to this round. By the way, this is not. There's a difference. It takes 28 over 28 around $30 if you're getting a good deal right now with the current market price, maybe 31, 32 bucks. Some places could charge higher on the up end, especially for Silver Eagles, just to purchase this one item right here. And remember, this is attached to the Federal Reserve banking, fractional reserve banking system, where they print money, currency out of thin air. And I actually have a map of the Federal Reserve real quick. This is like a map. If you guys can see the districts around the country, if you look at the dollar bills, like I showed in my previous video, one is Boston, and even though it might be in a particular city, it governs multiple cities and regions based on your location. You have to look up what region you're in. You have number 4, Cleveland. You have number 7, Chicago. Then the West Coast, you got 10, San Francisco. So this will govern, mostly these states on the West Coast or whatever. So this is to show you a map right here. And many people, I won't spoil it for you guys. That's why I went over that documentary called Money Masters and Monopoly Man to kind of explain to you all about this fiat. It's really important to really know. A friend of mine sat me down some years ago. He studied political science and economics because he understood at the time I needed to learn more dealing with the debt-based Federal Reserve banking system. If you study the history, what Abraham Lincoln did with the greenbacks, they were printed by the Treasury. We never needed the Federal Reserve. Came in as a third party, by the way, and we never needed them. When you study the history of that famous particular family, by the way, they used trickery, and they infiltrated through the British. When you study the history, and this has ties in with the legal system, the Bar Association, British Accredited Regency, where under the secret oath, they're knights for the Queen of England, like on a chessboard. The lawyers are knights, by the way. For example, these are your knights. So, and lawyers, this is why I was having a talk with one of my sources recently, and they were sharing with me why they're paid off, by the way, and some lawyers and judges, why they actually know the secrets. This is how some of the so-called, they call it conspiracy stuff, but this is how this ties in with the banking system and the history. It's important to connect the dots, the pieces together. By the way, in case you guys are joining me, I'm your host, John Dorsey. You're watching Dorsey's Resource. I'm discussing, the topic of this video is why silver and gold are going up. I read a couple articles earlier, several articles. This is also Q&A session. If you guys haven't already, if you can please hit the thumbs up button, helps out tremendously. And I'm going to get to the chat and read some more of you guys' comments in the meantime. Okay, Gretchen Wells says, yes. Sandra Week says, if you have silver in a depository, please try to get it out. You will have to pay a hefty fee. Wow, yes, as the demand is going up, I do know I've heard of places that hold precious metals for you that can. Of course, there's a fee, just like people hold items in storage facilities, clothes and furniture. There's places that'll hold your precious metals that are trustworthy, because there's people that don't trust having their money in a savings account, by the way, because history's shown, I guess from years past, that if something happens to that particular bank, if it's, especially if it's a smaller bank, even though the credit unions as well, I got confirmation years ago when I called Michigan First. I don't no longer bank with them, but this was many years ago. They are members under the Federal Reserve banking system. So credit unions fall up under that. I know people think sometimes when they're part of a credit union, there is some differences, I guess, between the regular banks. I know many of them, they try to combine the savings accounts, but behind the scenes, they're also making extra off your, if it's tied in with your, the SSN, which is part of that secret account information. They're fractionalizing and securitizing, by the way. So yeah, that's a good statement. I would say for your retirement, if you have 401k, you don't want to have all your 401k in just gold and silver. You want to have the physical uh, as well. You want to have a set portion to the side for your retirement. By the way, you don't want to just have it all in 401k, and it's important to diversify. I did give a disclaimer, by the way, so this is not legal advice, but it's important to do the research. The documentaries that I've gone over in the past is, if you can still find it on YouTube, used to be able to watch it for free if you still can. One is called Monopoly Men. There was another documentary that the guy that did that was in, called Secret of Oz. I think his name was Bill Steele. It was called The Secret of Oz. You may be able to watch that for free. That also talks about some of these things and the connection to the movie Wizard of Oz, by the way. That was cryptic years ago, intentionally done right around the time that the Federal Reserve Act was created in 1913. The book I found out, which predated the movie, the book for Wizard of Oz, the Dorothy has silver slippers, and the year that this particular book was released, when I read the information, was in 1914, which the movie came out in like the 1930s, around the time of the Great Depression, which is not a coincidence, because the bankers, they were sending cryptic messages, cryptic code, by the way. And this is why it's important, when you understand the history, you understand how to connect the pieces. And it's very important. So I went over Abraham Lincoln. I talked about the greenbacks. Also, John F. Kennedy had created interest-free notes, and where he used the Treasury, because once again, the Federal Reserve is acting as the third party. We never originally needed them to print the currency for our government. But when you study the history behind the Rothschild banking dynasty and the family, when Amschel Bauer sent his 5 sons to different parts of the world to start central banks as colonizers, to colonize and go in other parts of the world, until they were, because I hear it's only a few countries that left that don't have Federal Reserve banks or whatever. So that's how the wars and stuff, it ties in. I won't go into all the details, but you can read between the lines. There's a book I heard that came out some years ago called Confessions of an Economic Hitman. I forget the name of the author, but he explains how they would go into foreign governments. He was like a tool used, underlink used for the bankers, and then he turned good, exposed the information and how they use the central banking system. This is why the cryptocurrencies are more decentralized. But remember, this fiat, this paper system, this is still just like checks and money orders are tied to these institutions which print money out of thin air using fractional reserve banking. Fractional reserve banking is where they can loan up to 90% of what you have on deposit. So say, for example, if you have $10,000 on deposit at the bank, they can loan up to 90% based off your signature. By the way, behind the scenes, an elder was sharing with me many years ago, they used to send people's personal checks back to them, by the way, I guess for different transactions to bank. But he stated years later, they started keeping the checks because they would turn them into derivatives and sell them on the derivatives market, by the way. So this is how this stuff does tie in with your birth certificate. This is not a conspiracy theory or rumor. Certain gatekeepers and minions out there will have you believe there is validity to how the people back the currency. And I have an article I was explaining to someone where Congress, they held a session some years ago where they said, we the American people back the currency, by the way. And there was a private seminar that an elite spoke to over audience. And it was at, I discovered the Atlanta seminar. I won't say his name, some years ago. And he told the audience, and the audience, you could kind of hear him in the background. They were like, whoa, they were pretty spooked. But he told them that you back the currency. And that's why it's not a coincidence that you have a Federal Reserve banking account in your name, believe it or not, which I discovered. I was stunned for sure a few years ago, which is a whole nother subject within itself. But to get on back on the topic of this video, I'm going over why silver and gold are going up. And this is also Q&A session. So this is also some of the best times to reach me. If you guys have any questions, I'll do my level best to try to answer the question. I may not always be able to. I don't know everything. I'm not a human encyclopedia. But if you do have questions, this is one of the best times to reach me, even if it's off topic. So that's why I put, when I include Q&A, if I'm not focused on the topic specifically, by the way. So I went over earlier, I discussed how the U.S. Mint has reduced the volume of gold and silver coins it's distributing to authorized purchasers as the coronavirus pandemic slowed production, by the way. So I heard there was another document, by the way, that the U.S. Mint wants to take pressure off the West Point Mint and start production or help out with the production at the San Francisco Mint, and I believe the Philadelphia Mint. I had some notes on it, by the way. And some of this I discussed in my previous video, by the way. Let's see if I have right here. One of the things too is silver is highly undervalued, by the way. So just keep that in mind. It's another reason there's only so much that's above ground still. Even with people selling back, there's more people buying. When I talked to a coin dealer recently, he said it's been more people buying versus selling back. And I'm hearing it consistently. It's only one YouTuber that has like a channel that deals with silver that I heard where the dealer said it was about even, but most of them said most people are buying right now because people in the know understand. So this is also a warning, by the way, to you guys. I also had a title, warning silver is on the rise because we are in a bull market. Lately, it's been very volatile. Now, I don't know if it will pull back significantly, but I have saw, as I've been monitoring it the past couple weeks, the little pullback since it's been rising, but it's been steadily on a climb. And as of lately, once it passed 20, I was speaking with someone more knowledgeable than myself. They say that there's like these triggers that it will shoot up higher, that 50, there's some other triggers, but 50, if it gets to 50, that's another trigger where you can see down the road, if it gets to be expensive for dealers, coin dealers, they're going to go up even higher on the premiums, by the way, just like gold, where if you purchase gold, there's $100 premium. It's like an unofficial tax on top of what the market rate, the spot price is at the time through the London bullion market, which sets the rate, by the way. So the U.S. Mint is looking to take pressure off the West Point Mint for San Francisco and Philly. And people keep in mind with the COMEX exchange, people are calling in their physical deliveries, by the way. Let me see if there's an article I pulled up earlier I can find. There's someone, there was an interview with Andrew Maguire. He talked about how the run on the hashtag COMEX and gold and silver is happening now, and whether the shorts are finally about to get overrun. Given the large amount of silver that might stand for delivery this September, it's possible that we could be nearing the end of the paper manipulation scheme. That already appears to be on the ropes and has some significant hurdles in the months ahead. It says, fortunately, Andrew commented on this and more, basically. So this was like an interview. I've also heard from watching another YouTuber information. So I'm going to get to the chat again and read you guys comments, by the way. Finish. Gregory Flores says MIF. I'm not sure what you meant by that. Says on April 1st, Sandra Weeks says on April 1st, 2011, 1 ounce silver hit $50 per 1 ounce. Yes, I remember that. It's been a while. I didn't remember which year specifically. I thought it was 2011 because I've been hearing about that. That was like the high for silver. Now gold already broke its high at it surpassed it recently. It's over 2,000 now. I don't remember. They said it hit like that before, but it's higher than that. It's already reached past its high from what I understand. It's record, all-time record. So silver had an all-time record even back in the 80s, I heard, or early 80s, by the way. And the last time that happened was April 1st, 2011, by the way. And that's why I kind of remember since I started it, got into it collecting in 2008. But I lost quite a bit from stupid decisions, bad investments, and things of that sort. But I noticed lately, just giving a warning out there, this is something anybody could do. Robert Kiyosaki said some years ago, anybody said, and it was on YouTube. It still might be on YouTube. He said, silver is anything anybody can do. It's still cheap. But I'm just warning you guys, because when it starts to go up that high, people are already going to be like, it's too expensive, because people like to bargain shop. And just a warning. This is also a warning, by the way. So if you've been interested or you've been looking, wondering, it's important to get on the move now, because it's been shooting up there. By the way, Gretchen Helm says, teach fire. Appreciate you, Gretchen. Thank you. Sandra Week says, go on TradingView and put in XAGUSD to get the real-time price of silver. Okay. Thank you for that information. I'll have to check that out. By the way, that's some good intel. Gretchen Helm says, that's why pro say is the best way. Gregory Flores says, the power of bonds. Sandra Week says, thank you for the knowledge. Joseph Overson says, we have been boosting the dollar for years now. We must reset our gold and silver to match all of the banknotes we have printed. We are pulling out of the IMF, and that will cause the dollar to plummet. Okay. Sounds like you're very knowledgeable. That's good intel. Gregory Flores says, monetization. Sandra Week says, just small pullbacks. Yep, so far. Last small pullback was July 30th. Galactic Soul says, okay, which site is the best place to buy the gold and silver? Well, first of all, in my opinion, what I would suggest, Galactic Soul, if you can, is look up, and I don't know what area, region of the country you live at or where your dwelling is at, but I would prefer, it's more preferable to find a dealer or coin shop in person, even a coin dealer versus a pawn shop, by the way, because a coin shop that specializes in selling precious metals, I would check your white pages, yellow pages. Nowadays on the internet, do a search and look up versus buying online. Some people say you can get better deals online, but here's the problem you have to watch out for. If you're new to precious metals, there's fakes that are out there. It's kind of one of the reasons why I stay away from silver bars. But silver bars have been flying off the shelf if you know what you're doing. They do have machines out there, I found out, that can test out to make sure you don't have a fake. By the way, that's why you have to be careful buying online. There was a scandal a few years ago where even some online dealers, I think they have insurance and stuff like that, but they can still incur financial losses from scams out there. But just be cautious from buying online. But if so, I would suggest, in my opinion, Ampex is pretty good. It's reliable from what I hear. JM Bullion is up there. Providence Metal. You have Gainesville Coins. There's a list, but reliable dealers if you do go that route. But however, I would suggest, in my opinion, because this is not financial or legal advice, but find a coin shop or dealer in the area you live at, and ask them, talk to someone who's certified. Just like if you were training in firearms, you would want to go to someone who's NRA certified instructor, or someone who has experience, by the way, because there are con artists out here you have to watch out for. And someone elder was sharing with me privately some years ago. One of the reasons why I stayed away from the bars, they have faked coins before, but it's harder, and it's harder for the con artists to do, by the way. But I just want to give you guys a warning if this is something that you don't know about or getting into. They also have YouTube videos where you can look up and get information about the fakes. Was one test they do, like an acid test. There's ways that they can discover fakes. I just discovered there's a dealer, they have a machine which is pretty expensive, just like auto repair shops have machines that can diagnose problems that are wrong with the car. I found out they have machines that can actually detect if you have legitimate precious metals. By the way, you also want to get a scale, by the way, because certain precious metals dealers have to learn about this information. They're supposed to weigh a certain amount, by the way. So if they don't weigh a certain amount, then that can put up a red flag. But con artists, they have got somewhat good. So you want to be careful. But so I would highly suggest that you will go somewhere to a dealer in your area in person, by the way, just in my opinion. So you're not getting scammed, or you're not getting fake. Because I'm glad that this elder that shared this with me some years ago wired me up, and I did some research. And you can go on YouTube and do your research to answer your question, Galactic Soul. But I would highly suggest go to a official coin dealer versus a pawn shop, because pawn shops, you know, just what they are. And I saw that famous one, that TV show, that was really good. That guy, he was very knowledgeable, because as a business owner, dealers, they have to protect their assets, their inventory, by the way. And just for regular consumers out here, if you're getting into precious metals for the first time, you don't want to get scammed, by the way. So I would highly suggest find a coin dealer in your area or region. Just may take a while. Do a search online versus buying online. Because another thing, if you buy online, you don't know exactly what you're getting. Even though some dealers, they offer insurance, by the way, but you could be paying a higher price. Generally, for what I got for these rounds, by the way, for this roll, by the way, you know, I got a really good deal when I looked online. Because what I'll do, I'll ask them what, you know, not saying the place that I go to. I've gone to a few different shops in the area that I'm at, but the places that I go to, I would ask them based on what the market rate is, because there's going to be a certain premium amount over the spot price. Now, Silver Eagles, of course, are more expensive, so I'm going dollar cost average as the price is getting higher. By the way, just from experience, there's things that I've learned throughout the years. But it's very important, I would say, versus buying online. You have to be really careful, because, to reiterate once again, there was a scandal a few years ago where these people, they had got really good at faking these silver bars where they were passing. And they had even got to some really popular online sites, by the way. And there's con artists that use even the names, and it will put silver plating and call it a 10-ounce bar or whatever. And so you don't want to be buying something you've been holding in your possession for 10 years, 15 years down the road, only to find out that when you go to sell it back, or if you need some worthless fiat or whatever, that you find out it's a fake. You know, you would be devastated. So it's important. Another thing, you can do a magnet test. Magnets are not supposed to stick to this. Like, if you have a magnet in it and it sticks just like that, then it's a possibility you have a fake. That's like important. So, but you also want to have a scale. It's supposed to weigh a certain amount, but you have to study. This is what dealers know. Different types of precious metals, they weigh a certain amount. Like Silver Eagles, they'll have a certain type of weight and texture, diameter to them. They even do have like diameter tests from the little bit that I looked at. So definitely, just in my opinion, to answer your question, to reiterate once again, if you are considering getting into buying precious metals, silver and gold, you want to do as much research. Subscribe. What I've been doing lately, this is just me, is I've just started subscribing to a lot of silver channels. I just like watching them, listening to the information. So recently I've subscribed to a lot of channels. Like, I like Silver Joker, the work he's doing. We'll look at Silver Slayer. I've subscribed to Silver Dragon's channel. A lot of different others out there that have a plethora of information, and they've also done very good educational videos, by the way, too. So I would be careful buying online. You also have to deal with shipping. So you're trying to get, as cheap as possible, by the way. If some people might have deep pockets where they don't care about that, but just these are the precautions you want to take versus buying online. Is find a dealer, coin dealer in your local area, in your geographical region, by the way. So I'm gonna jump back to the chat, scroll up. Looks like we got a lot of people in, by the way. So hopefully I answered your question, Galactic. So D. LaMarcus Washington III says, "What's going on, brother? Appreciate you. Thank you for joining." Atari Jaguar Frank Anal 67 said, hashtag Big Daddy Ray, Army BLDM Trump 2020. Haha. Okay, yep. We got a lot. BLDM, okay. Okay, you guys have jumped in tremendously in here. I see a lot of stuff about Trump just scrolling down. Looks like same post. Okay. Okay, let's see here. Okay, jump down. It says, did someone take a poll? By the way, Sandra Week says, Silver Eagles are my favorites. Galactic Soul says, right. Okay, good. Glad you got that. Great. Awesome. So Silver Eagles. Yes, Silver Eagles is a favorite of mine too, if you can afford them. Sandra Weeks, but because the price is skyrocketing, jumping up there really, really big, you definitely want to have dollar cost average if you don't have deep pockets already, just in my opinion, by the way. But thank you all for joining, guys. If you can, hit the thumbs up button. Don't hesitate. All the newbies in here that jumped in really quick, by the way. See if I can put something in. Okay. Oh, I didn't do that right. Typo. Okay, this is in relation to the previous comments. Thank you guys for joining. Appreciate you. So, going back over the article I was reading from earlier before I went into some of the details. This is Q&A for you guys that have just joined. It says the beginning of the end of the United States economy started with the inception of the Federal Reserve. Dread the Fed. This is another paragraph of the Robert Kiyosaki article I was reading from earlier. The Fed, as it's called, is a private bank separate from the U.S. government with the power to dictate our country's fiscal policy. Since the Fed's formation, the U.S. dollar has become nothing but currency. The U.S. Federal Reserve Bank, which is neither U.S. nor federal, technically has no reserves and is not really a bank, was given the right to print U.S. currency by the government. While the Fed does not have reserves, it does have a printing press. The Fed has been allowed to flood the world with dollars, also known as funny money, magic money, fiat money, currency. By the way, okay, it says, while this did the world some good, such as increasing the standard of living many countries and looks like typo, and making many people rich, it also caused many people to become poor by not only having to work harder, but ultimately earning less money. They earn less money because they pay more in taxes, interest, and inflation. During the classical gold standard, our currency was real, verifiable money, meaning that there was actual gold and silver in the treasury backing it up. The currency was just a receipt for the money. Then in stepped the Fed, one of the most notorious and misunderstood institutions in the history of the United States. The difficulty with the Fed is that there's a lot of information out there, which is one reason why it's so controversial. There are two very polarized camps when it comes to the Fed. On one end, you have the government, which trusts it to regulate the U.S. economy. On the other end, you have the conspiracy theorists who believe in no uncertain terms that the Fed will eventually bring about the collapse of the U.S. economy. As former senator and presidential contender Barry Goldwater pointed out, The accounts of the Federal Reserve System have never been audited. It operates outside the control of Congress and manipulates the credit of the United States. By the way, let me see how long this article is. This article is pretty, okay, not too much longer. Okay, this part I'm reading from says value versus price. In case you're wondering, by the way, this was an article. I thought it was important. It says a big difference. Currency fiat. Oh, let me scroll back up. Currency fiat, U.S. dollars and money, gold and silver are not equal. And it explained at the top, Robert Kiyosaki explained why people who hold real money, gold and silver instead of fiat currency will reap the rewards many times over. This is an article that I'm reading from, by the way. So I'll scroll back. Okay, here it is from, I was reading. It says value versus price. Anytime you find yourself in a situation where you are the informed investor and the masses don't yet know what's going on, you have the advantage. Once the cycle has changed, once you verify the conditions have shifted, you can flourish. Any investor that does reasonable due diligence, takes a position early, waits for the masses to wake up, and hangs on for the ride, has an extremely good chance of making boatloads of money. So how do I see what the value of something truly is? Simple. You stop measuring value with the dollar. The dollar can't tell you what true value is because it can't tell the truth. To borrow a phrase coined by Al Franklin, the dollar is a lying liar. People always ask me how high will gold go. The answer they are expecting from me is as price in dollars. Just remember this, it's not what the price of gold is that matters, but rather how much stuff it will buy. If I said gold is going to $1 million an ounce, most people would say great and run out and buy as much gold as they could. But then if I said, but a cup of coffee is going to cost $1 billion, then they say, let's see, that means coffee costs 1,000 ounces of gold a cup. That's not so great. Under those conditions, people would sell all of their gold while it was still worth something and not wait until it went up to $1 million an ounce and effectively worth nothing. True value. Why do I bring up the idea of true value? Because it's the only way to tell whether an asset class is overvalued or undervalued. And as I said earlier, silver is highly undervalued, by the way. There's only so much silver that's above ground, guys. So I think there's another article I'm going to go to, see if we got some more people in. Sandra Week says silver right now is $28.30 per ounce. Yes, you're correct. It's around that, fluctuating around that amount. Differences on Kitco versus JM Bullion and Coinflation. Gretchen Hill says, how the chat go from 100 to 15 people. What's going on? Galactic Soul says, absolutely. Thank you for that info. What about the foreign currency? Is that for real? Yes. In my opinion, to answer your question, Gretchen, I don't know what was going on with the chat earlier. That was like real weird. By the way, I've never seen that before, even when I watch other channels. By the way, that was real interesting how it was shooting up there. By the way, to answer the question, Galactic, so absolutely, and thank you for that info. What about the foreign currency? Is that for real? Yeah, in my opinion, it's another type of an investment, Galactic Soul, to answer your question. And it's not part of diversifying your portfolio, not putting all your eggs in one basket. And researching the information, there's a movie documentary. If you haven't saw it yet, I would highly, in my opinion, suggest you take the time whenever you get a chance in your free time. It's called Changes on the Horizon. The last I checked, there was only like maybe one copy left on YouTube that was free. Somebody had uploaded an uncut version. It's called Change is on the Horizon. And I would highly suggest, the first part is really esoteric. It talks about the Saint Germain Trust, but it shows, I think it will help connect the dots along with some of the other documentaries that I went over, such as Money Masters, Monopoly Men, There was a movie documentary by Bill Steele called The Secret of Oz. If you can, I think someone recently interviewed G. Edward Griffin. He wrote the book and had an audio version, The Creature from Jekyll Island. By the way, that's good. That complements the other information, these documentaries that I went over. Check out G. Edward Griffin's work. By the way, if you haven't, it complements the documentaries to help connect the pieces for you. By the way, Mary Saunders says, hello, Mr. Dorsey. Greetings to you, Mary. Thank you for joining. Appreciate you, by the way. So let me see. There was another article, a couple articles I was going to read from. I'm going to go to this other one first. Okay, I went from that one. Okay. This other article is from, I guess, the site usagold.com. Says, Mint may expand bullion strikings for American Eagles. By the way, reading from, it says, a dramatic rise in American silver eagle bullion coin demand is pushing the U.S. Mint to look at producing additional coins at facilities beyond the West Point Mint. Ryan Valdez, head of sales and trading worldwide for Dillon Gage, said the U.S. Mint is hoping to at least double its output, roughly 400,000 American Eagle silver bullion coins every 2 weeks to 400,000 every week. Tom Power, president of the U.S. Mint's primary vendor for American Eagle silver planchets, Sunshine Minting Incorporated in Coeur d'Alene, Idaho, said the firm has no problem supplying the mint with sufficient silver planchets. By the way, okay. USA Gold, no planchet production. The silver blanks the mint strikes as bullion coins has been the problem in past shortages. So this is good news. Also good to see that the mint is swinging into action as demand surges among private investors. At USA Gold, we are experiencing very strong demand for bullion coins, but still not the levels we experienced in 2009, at least not yet. By the way, what it's saying so far. Okay, here. Now, this is an older article I'm reading from. I'm going to read from. It says 10 reasons why silver will outshine gold in 2019. And I think this article was a good article I came across. This goes into some of the history where states silver was thought of as a godlike metal in ancient times and was associated with magic. It was often used in ancient religious ceremonies. Silver has a very robust profile of uses, including electronics, automotive, medicinal coins, and metals, photography, and green tech. Silver has a 6,000-year history of use as money, longer than gold, from ancient Mesopotamia to the U.S. Constitution. Silver's production profile suggests that while it gets more and more valuable in society, the lack of primary mines, lower ore grades, and mill output portends as a much higher rise in the price than gold, we'll say, projects. Since the beginning of time, silver has fascinated people around the world. The metal has been the subject of various religions, a tireless tool of trade, a shiny sign of wealth, and a unique metal whose very special properties have made it stand out from its peers. Here are 10 reasons why silver luster will be brighter than gold. This was from last year, 2019, by the way. Okay, let's see here. Okay. Now, continuing to read. The history of silver starts with magic. Silver has been associated with magic because it never rusts, does not react with other substances, and keeps food and fresh water fresh and pure. Many people use it in shamanistic rituals. It has been, in fact, associated with the gods because it did not seem to tarnish and wear over time. like the other metals. Its special properties were associated with supernatural powers, where mystic literature claims that the werewolves and vampires should be killed with silver. It is also believed to deflect harmful spirits and energy, by the way. Silver's reflectivity and color is symbolic of the moon. The Incan goddess, Mama Killer, translated as Mother Moon, is goddess of the moon and is said to cry silver tears. Silver has been therefore always been associated with femininity as well as both the lunar and menstrual cycles. Silver's wide array of uses. The noble metal silver has a vast set of uses in industry for adornment and for a wealth-saving vehicle. Below is a detailed look at the many incredible ways in which society has found to utilize silver's unique properties. For example, spoiled food silverware, by the way. This is like a little diagram. It shows in ancient times, food and drink was stored in containers lined with silver to keep them fresh due to its antimicrobial properties. Ship captains dropped silver coins in water buckets to keep them fresh. Says today, silver is used mostly in electronics for coins and metals. There are many other uses of silver. Okay, I went over that earlier. This is what this next part is about to talk about. By the way, this next section of this article, it says silver is mainly used for electronics and electrical wire and connections. 36 million ounces of silver is used in the automotive industry for electrical contacts and power windows and battery connections. Silver is present in computers, mobile phones, televisions, DVDs, long life batteries, and many other types of technology. Silver is used in ball bearings that need to withstand high levels of heat within engines. Silver is used in flexible computer screens and LED lights. Perhaps the most popular use of silver is in solar panels, an industry which has exploded in popularity in recent years. According to geology.com, a leading geoscience news magazine, the number one use of silver in the industry is electronics, is in electronics. This is an article that I'm reading from, guys. By the way, in case you're joining me, I'm your host, John Dorsey. This is Dorsey's Resource. I'm going over the reasons why gold and silver is going up. I've read some articles earlier that dealt with the U.S. Mint. In case you're just now joining me, once this video is uploaded, you can go back and watch the beginning as I go over a lot of this information. By the way, I will get to the chat section. This is also Q&A, so for the few of you guys that are joining, you're welcome. This is the best time to reach me. Whatever questions you have, I will do my level best to answer them. And then I'll continue to finish reading from this article, by the way. So this is according to geology.com, a leading geoscience news magazine. The number one use of silver in industry is in electronics. Silver's unsurpassed thermal and electrical conductivity among metals means it cannot easily be replaced by less expensive materials. Medicinal uses. Silver was recognized for its antimicrobial properties for food and medicine through ancient peoples had no knowledge of science or biology, which I read from, kind of reiterates from what I read earlier. Silver powders and tinctures were often applied to wounds to prevent spread of infection and sepsis. The Romans knew that putting a silver coin in a barrel of water would result in less men getting sick during travel. As such, silver was dubbed a noble metal worthy of the finest of soldiers, kings, and gentlemen alike. Today, silver is used as an antibiotic coating on medical devices to prevent contamination, used in wound dressing to prevent infection, including in creams to cleanse scrapes and wounds, and is even bottled in ionic solution to be used as an immune system booster. I noticed that there's a water filter called ProPure that I have, where I heard that the filters are silver impregnated, which is interesting. And then there was also a product that I purchased a while ago. I can't remember the specific name, of it is for like wounds you put over the wound, and it has like silver in there. So this article was correlating. It's amazing. This has some really good information. It says silver compounds have been used externally as antiseptics, such as in eye drops to prevent conjunctivitis. Further, dermatologists often use silver nitrate in stick form to treat corns and warts, by the way. Wow. Silver nitrate also was used successfully to treat skin ulcers, compound fractures, and suppurating wounds well before the time of Lister. Silver has been used in surgical implements such as bone prosthesis, reconstructive orthopedic surgery, as well as cardiac devices. Silver has historically been used in dentistry as fillings mixed with mercury. The dangers of mercury have caused alternative filling materials to be developed, but silver is still considered safe for dental use, by the way. Now this section deals with coins and metals. Silver is minted into coins and metals. So I'm going over the industrial reasons because there's only so much above ground silver, by the way, which leads, with the combination of these many things happening out there with more people in this bull market as of lately, can cause definitely prices to go up, even despite the manipulation. Because I was told by this elder that the manipulation, it won't be able to last forever, by the way, that there's going to come a point in time where that's going to pop, you know. So getting back to the chat, Tanya Reynolds says, hello, Mr. Dorsey. Thank you for joining, Tanya Reynolds. Tahunga Wishin says dollar collapse. Yes, I had heard recently that with the rise of precious metals going up is indication of a potential dollar collapse that could occur, by the way. So that was some information that was shared with me. So continuing to read from the rest of the article, by the way, this article was from 2019, by the way. So this is an older article. It was discussing many of the uses of silver, and that many say they believe one day that silver may even pass the price of gold. This is like the argument behind that, because gold is more hoarded, and eventually over time, because silver is in such a high demand, that I hear even mines from other parts of the world have got big tech companies in different parts of the world are setting up contracts to purchase large amounts, which will cause the mining fees to go up and have like a ripple effect for suppliers out there, which eventually make their way to, your local dealers, which will cause the price and other reasons to cause demand as the demand rises. If there's a supply shortage, because as we're moving into the future, there's going to be more demand, as many of the electronic devices I mentioned that it's used for in a lot of products, by the way. So mining companies are making partnerships, contracts with large corporations for silver's industrial value. While the dollar is losing its purchasing power, fiat precious metals are a safe haven against inflation, by the way. Let me see if I can go to this other article. So it's, they say it's a possibility that we are getting closer as silver is rising with this volatile market, that we're nearing the end of the paper manipulation scheme that already appears to be on the ropes and has some significant hurdles in the months ahead. I was told that the price of gold and silver going up is indication that we are on the edge of a financial collapse or something coming down the road. However, what I was told to pay attention to is one of my sources stated, if the derivatives market pops, then the real price of silver will have to show up. If the banks don't have anyone to sell their trillions of derivatives to, then it can cause the market to collapse, is what I was told. And also Pastor Lindsey Williams, who came out as a whistleblower many years ago, who's wrote books, done DVDs, who lived with the elite of the world, talked about, said watch the derivatives market, by the way. He's mentioned that. He also stated not too long ago or some time ago, the cabal had a problem with Trump, by the way. And he stated that his elite friends told him that Trump is not one of them, by the way. That's what Pastor Lindsey Williams, he was a major whistleblower. If you haven't, I went over him, not trying to get religious or anything, but he's a whistleblower. He lived with some of the most powerful elites of the world many years ago. He came out with predictions, books and stuff, kind of even before my time, in a sense. I was a lot younger back then. He's been around for a long time. And he's still in touch with one of his elite contacts after one of them died, by the way. If you know, some of you all, many of you all may know the story already, but for those who don't, you can do your research. He has a DVD that I recommend, like a documentary online. If you can still find it on YouTube, I highly suggest you check it out. It's called Secrets of the Elite. I did a video on it a long time ago. I would highly advise, in my opinion, check that out if it's still available on YouTube, by the way, because you know they're taking stuff down left and right. So just saying. Yep. So I spoke about that earlier. The coin shortage has an effect. I also heard banks such as JP Morgan and other investment firms have been buying millions of ounces of silver, and they would not be doing this if silver didn't have any major value in the long term. By the way, it says, I was also told there's only so much in supply above ground. So when large amounts of the population go out and purchase physical silver, especially even during this pandemic, I hear the minting companies have not produced as much above ground silver this particular year due to the pandemic, from which I just read the articles earlier. So this could potentially cause this year to be a semi-numismatic year for silver eagles. Like 1996 was, I think that was a year that not as many silver eagles were minted. So they have like semi or numismatic value. Some of the ones that have not been officially graded, even just for a single 1 ounce, you would pay more for it because there was a low mintage during that particular year, by the way. And they say that this year in 2020 can end up like that and possibly going into the future if things get worse. It says even in more recent years, the U.S. Mint has only been able to produce lower quantities versus astronomical amounts of supply for the general population, which I went over, by the way. Okay. So, you know, that pretty much does it. That's a lot of information. I see we haven't got a lot more people in the chat. This is the last call, just to let you guys know, for Q&A. So I pretty much have made my point. The topic of this video was why silver and gold are going up. This is also Q&A. This is the last call. I'm getting ready to shut things down, shut this video down, but I just want to come before you guys once again. As I mentioned last night, I didn't have all of my notes with me that I had planned to do a video for you guys, and I said I was going to work on coming to you guys earlier during the day. So down the road, my next video might be on the dinar. Someone asked me in one of the comment sections of one of the videos about an update about the Zimbabwe, which is tied in with the reset. There was some sensitive information. I had been getting some updates from one of my other sources that I have, by the way. It sent me some really excellent info. So I'll be working on that probably maybe the next video. So let me know, guys, what you guys would like to see. If there's a video, if you guys also want to see me talk about some more redemption information, something specifically, don't hesitate to jump in. Sandra Week says, yes, that is true. Some sites you can only purchase 10 coins per order. Okay, well, thank you. That confirms my point. Well, with that being said, guys, I'm your host, John Dorsey at Dorsey's Resource. I appreciate you all for joining me. You can follow me at Dorsey's Resource. Obviously, I'm on YouTube. Also, I posted a link for my backup channel, by the way. I'm going to work on down the road. As of lately, I don't have any videos there yet, but be on standby. I would highly suggest to go over and subscribe to my backup channel. I posted the link. Should be, if you go in the video section of this main YouTube channel. If you haven't, make sure you subscribe, hit the notification bell, so whenever I go live or put out new videos, you will be notified. In the upper right-hand corner on YouTube on your smartphone should let you know if you're logged in, whatever account you're logged in. I know some people might have multiple accounts, by the way, so don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. You can also follow me on Facebook, by the way, at Dorsey's Resource. I'm also on Twitter at Dorsey's Resource, by the way. Just look me up on there. I'm also on Instagram at Dorsey's Resource _ 2019, Dorsey's Resource. That's where I show my other side of me, my more left liberal side. Twitter is my my more right side. I'm like more in the middle. I'm apolitical, by the way. But I appreciate you guys for joining me. Big shout out. God bless everyone. The marathon will continue. Real legends never die. And getting ready to sign out, guys. So adios, sayonara, arrivederci, masalama. Until next time, shalom, ashe, take care.